Hi everybody, got a special segment for you today. I got Sarah here with me. It's not all about funny videos and silly costumes for me. I do also write books, and I've got one that's coming out very soon called Prospector and the Prophet, and she's going to help me read the opening part of it. And she said we probably didn't need costumes at this point, but are you sure? I feel like I could wear the Jedi costume for this.
Yeah, I really don't think that's necessary.
Okay, she's probably right. So anyway, she's going to help me by reading a couple of the parts for me, and we're going to go through the opening scene of my upcoming novel, Prospector and the Prophet. Starting now.
I like you guys. You're really nice. I'm sorry I told them you were coming.
Said Audrey, the 12-year-old alien prophet they'd come to see. Wait, what? Kier Syzygy said, dumbfounded, his worry suddenly spiking. Kier, you gotta get out of there. Wormy, at the controls of Kier's ship, Amira, in high orbit overhead, sounded frantic in his earpiece. It's a trap. The transmission has been severed. 6, the nanotech integrated sentient robot that was attached to Kier's arm, sounded in his head with his monotone voice that did little to define the true seriousness of their situation. The building is being surrounded. This is your doing, Kier raged as he rounded on Moscow, intense blue eyes blazing. You set us up, you slimy son of a... Moscow's Spectre threw his hands up and did not fake his wide-eyed expression. It wasn't me, I swear, he pleaded, his case frantically. I want nothing to do with those people. Please, Kier, don't let them take me. Use you as a bargaining chip to get the two of us out of here. That's what I should do, Kier fumed back at him. Don't think I won't. You still need me, Kier, remember? Moscow tried a nervous smile. It looked out of place on his flabby face and chin, which featured a thinly sculpted salt and pepper beard that hugged his jawline. Besides, the girl said she told them we were coming.
All the exits are blocked.
Ashley said as she poked at the data screen that was folded around her forearm. She had a symbiote attached to her as well. Ashley called it Evie. She had her blonde hair pulled back into a ponytail, which swung behind her head as she moved her eyes from her wrists toward Kier.
I count 20 hostiles coming up the stairs, all heavily armed.
Damn it, Kier said as he ran his hand through his short-cropped black hair. His frustration was nearly at its breaking point.
Focus, Kier. We don't have much time. The roof is your best chance.
The girl said as she reached into a bag and pulled out another potato chip. It was an odd currency that the prophet required. Up we go, Kier motioned toward the door. Remember, we've got 6 and Evie. I've gotten out of worse situations than this before. Should be a piece of cake.
One of you is not going to make it. Good luck.
Kier shared a worried look with Ashley, but they had no time to dwell on it. Pushing Moscow toward the exit, the 3 of them made for the roof. Damn it, Wormy exclaimed as he slammed his hand against the console. I lost him.
Remind me again why you ever let Kier go planetside.
Laura mused from the co-pilot seat.
Has there ever been a time where he hasn't gotten himself into a life-threatening situation?
No, Wormy said a little more forcefully than he intended. He softened his tone a bit before continuing. This happens every time. He began frantically tapping buttons on his computer console.
What is it?
They cut our communications seconds after that warship entered the system. Wormy pointed to the angry-looking behemoth through Amira's bridge viewport. It looked like 3 saucer-shaped Thamuz warships had been spliced together, one on top of the other in a stair-step pattern. The exterior's rounded edges were bristling with weapons, giving it a nearly 360-degree firing field. It was a ship he'd seen only once before. They know we're here, and with Ashley and Evie on the planet, our cloaking shield isn't going to hide us if we move. Kier's not the only one in trouble here.
Why don't you use the EMP? Disable them long enough for us to get away.
We can't do that this close to the planet. It'll disrupt everything in space and on the entire hemisphere below. That is like one of the most illegal things we could do.
You did it to Earth the first time we captured the fat guy.
Yeah, but Earth isn't part of the Galactic Collective, so it was kind of a gray area.
Open up a wormhole and get us out of here.
Wormy shook his head in frustration. As close as they are, they'll just follow us through before we can gain any ground. Besides, we can't leave Kier and Ashley down there.
Let's go and get them then.
As soon as we move, those guns will pinpoint us and open fire. We won't even break the atmosphere.
Not if we open a wormhole first.
Are you crazy? That would be literally opening a doorway from space directly into the atmosphere of the planet. It would destroy the entire city.
So open a doorway far enough away that it won't. This isn't rocket science.
It kinda is.
It's just an expression. We're running out of time here.
Who made you captain of this ship?
Do you have any better ideas?
Admittedly, he did not, and he shook his head with a frown.
Can you do it or not?
Yes, but I'm going on record as saying that this is an extremely bad idea.
Your objection is noted.
Laura smiled. She punched a few keys on her own console and pulled up a map of the planet.
This area here.
She pointed to a desolate area of mountains, canyons, and swamplands nearly 300 miles to the north of Amulet City.
Is that remote enough for you?
It'll have to do, Wormy said as he transferred the coordinates from Laura's console to his own and began inputting his calculations. There were several professions throughout the galaxy that left little room for interpretation when it came to completing a task. Navigating through wormholes was not one of them. Without precise calculations, ships ran the risk of being permanently lost in the vast darkness of unmapped space. Wormy took his math very seriously, so much so that an unconventional jump such as this required he check his math a few extra times.
You all right over there, Wormy? Don't forget to carry the one.
He shot her a bemused look. All right, here goes nothing. His fingers punched his console furiously as he input the final calculations and ignited the engines. With a lurch, the Amira shot forward into the opening in space that appeared before them.
What does that even mean? Here goes nothing.
What? It's just an expression.
Yeah, but it doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's not rocket science. Now that expression implies that something is easy. It makes sense. Here goes nothing. That's just gibberish.
Warning bells flared throughout the bridge before Wormy could answer. The Amira started to rock violently, and he fought the controls to keep it from being pushed out of the wormhole. That would be the end of them for sure.
What is happening?
It's the atmosphere from the planet being sucked into space, Wormy explained through the strain of keeping the ship flying straight. It's halted our progress.
Didn't you calculate for that?
Well, of course I did. I just didn't anticipate the ship being this difficult to control. You're going to have to throttle the engines to max and fire the rear plasma cannons.
I hope nothing is behind us.
Wormy spared a second to shoot her an exasperated expression.
Okay.
Laura said as she punched the keys on her console that flared the engines. She then brought up the weapons system and fired both rear-facing cannons in successive bursts. The Amira inched forward through the exit of the wormhole. As the cannons fired, Amira finally burst into the atmosphere of Krogan. Upon exiting the wormhole, Wormy immediately hit the sequence to shut down the generator and close the doorway into space. He held on to the relieved sigh he'd been planning when Amira did not stop rocking violently. Warning lights and bells continued to flare on the bridge. Wormy's brow furrowed. With the portal closed, the danger should have been past. What the hell? He murmured to himself.
Did you factor in the effect on the weather patterns of the planet in your calculations by chance?
Laura said as she raised the heat shield, pointed out the ship's viewport. Wormy followed her gaze and saw a massive storm system churning directly below them. Even as high in the atmosphere as they were, the turbulence from the storm buffeted their ship violently.
That looks like a giant hurricane. Except hurricanes form over water, not land. How is that possible?
Oh no, Wormy groaned as he took in the immense size of the storm. We just supplied a massive amount of energy by opening that wormhole. All of the air rushing to fill the vacuum pulled water from the swamp, heated it rapidly. This is an unnatural storm that we created. I told you this was a bad idea.
Oh, how bad could it be? It's just a storm.
Laura punched a few keys on her keypad, dropped a weather probe into the twisting cyclone below. It was only a few moments before data began filling up her terminal.
Oh.
What?
Well, on Earth, Category 5 hurricanes are pretty much the worst storms possible, and they typically have wind speeds of over 150 miles per hour.
And?
Sustained wind speeds below us are approaching 700 miles per hour.
Oh.
Yeah, oh.
I'm afraid to ask this, but storms don't just sit idle. Where's it heading? Laura punched a few keys and threw the estimated trajectory from her console to his. Oh no, Wormy's expression darkened. We're going to end up destroying Amulet City after all.